Well, welcome to another episode of our Dana podcast. Today we have our VP of Operations joining us. So obviously it's been a year and a half since the pandemic started and businesses are reopening, although we're taking a lot of caution. And so we have our VP of Operations, Martin Barron, here to walk us through kind of our thought process about that and how we are looking at reopening. So if you're a food operations or you work in food services, feel free to join us and hopefully this is of value. Cheers. So do you want to walk us, Martin, through a little bit of Dana's thought process? I know that when the pandemic hit last year, we had something we called the SAFE guidelines, which was an acronym, and it was kind of like our thought process around how to manage pandemics, how we are going to operate with a lot of reopening and closing, and obviously a renewed dedication to health and safety standards. So big picture, do you want to walk us through a little bit of that?
Sure. So our SAFE program was designed specifically to maintain operations through the pandemic, and then also to start the transition out of pandemic into quasi-normal operations until we get back to the point where we're operating at full capacity again. So it's really about understanding. First key is talking to our customers, understanding what's going on in their locations. Are they comfortable with the cafe or micro market or office coffee service reopening? How they want that to reopen. So what we've done is we've taken our SAFE program to our clients and customers, and we've said, this is how we operate. And it's really a 4-step phase. It's about operating safely, so making sure we've got all the materials, resources, PPE required for our employees and ensure that we have that separation from our customers. Making sure that we're sharing awareness. So we're communicating with our customers, letting them know what we're doing during the transition to reopening and what they can do to help us through the process as well. We're also it's all fact-based. So we're taking the information that we're getting from the provincial health boards, and we're using that to use as our template for reopening along with our program. So there's not one size fits all. There is not one process for Canada. It's being driven province by province and even health authority by health authority. So there's a lot of communication going on there, and we're supporting our clients as well with sharing that information. And last and not least, and this is a two-way street, it's education. We're educating our employees, we're educating our customers, we're educating our clients on what we need to do to open safely, to offer the products that we can in a safe environment. And with us, it's always about making sure we're using fresh local products in a safe manner, delivering to our customers. So that's how our SAFE program, that's a quick overview of what it does for us.
That being said, with things shifting and, things are opening up further now that the vaccines are at play, how are we dealing with the vaccination? Is it, would you say that we've changed certain things that we considered high importance at the very beginning when it was very unknown? How are we dealing with the increased vaccine population?
Well, first, let me say first, we encourage all of our employees to get the vaccination. It is proven safe. It has been proven as a game changer. All of our executive have received both vaccinations, and we strongly support all of our employees getting the vaccination because it will get us closer to normal. I don't know if it'll ever be normal or the same it was pre-pandemic. Only time will tell us that. But if we're going to get there sooner than later, that's a key thing that we have to take into account. And it comes down to, for us, the vaccination is about allowing us to recall employees in a way that they can come to the workplace, if it's been closed, where they feel safe and where our clients and customers feel safe. In operations where we've stayed open during the pandemic, and I'm very proud to say that we have not had an outbreak at any one of our locations with our employees. All of our employees and managers have done a fantastic job following process throughout the pandemic, and it can get tiring. 18 months, the fatigue sets in, but they've stayed diligent. They've wanted to make sure that they're safe. They've kept their fellow employees safe and our customers safe. So I'm very proud of that. And I don't know if anyone else can say that. There are probably other companies, but I'm proud of our teams. They've done a fantastic job. But the vaccination is our way out of this. So we just need to make sure that we educate our employees, that we share information, and we just encourage people to get it.
You alluded to fatigue, and yes, it's been a year and a half, and obviously it's changed a lot of work culture. There's kind of like a malaise that sets in. You never know. You start questioning whether you're going to get get out of this pandemic. And you're right, I think the vaccines are definitely the key here. That being said, there's a lot of talk about pent up demand, especially with regards to, hospitality services and food services. Um, have you seen it? Like, are you starting to see it in our operations? Do you find that people are really eager to come to the cafes that we manage? Is it showing up in things like sales? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
When as units or accounts are starting to reopen or re-energize, so some may have stayed open at 50% and occupancy, and now they're going up to 75%. There is an excitement. There's an excitement where people can kind of gather in small groups where they couldn't before, where they can experience good quality food. It's an interesting thing, though. A lot of people over the pandemic became home gardeners as well. So they were experimenting with fresh food. They were growing their own vegetables. They were doing a lot of those things. So they really began to appreciate what fresh was all about. And so it's always been, it's our heart and soul, fresh and local. So when they come into our locations, they really appreciate now what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, because they know we're serving fresh and local. And so they've become, mini experts, I could say, in regards to how to handle fresh food and what the value brings and the quality it brings. So really encouraging, and there's a lot of positive comments coming from our customers about that.
Absolutely. It really it shifts the level of expectation. I think it grounds people a little bit more and allows them to take a deeper understanding of what we are doing in our units. That being said, what do you think the expectations, or what will our units encounter in terms of expectations going forward, with the greater understanding that COVID has affected many businesses and many food chains and so on and so forth?
So logistics, I think we all realize, and if you watch the news, the logistics, not just for food, but everything is going to be a mess for a while. They didn't plant, or they harvested and they didn't replant. So there's a lot of different issues going on. There's a whole issue of shipments across the oceans and containers and different issues that everyone is dealing with. And we see that in our personal lives when we go to grocery stores and see the price of food and that there's not everything on the shelf that should be there. The one advantage, we do have an advantage over generally our competitors, is we don't have fixed menus. So our chefs have the flexibility to see what's available, and then they can take what's available and make a fantastic product for our customers. So they're not locked into, and then, they realize, oh my God, it didn't show up on the truck. What do I do? What do I do? They've always dealt with having the flexibility to create the menus as required. So it's not too much of a disruption for us. However, we still have to manage what we're receiving from our suppliers. We still have to stay in touch. So what we try and do is we communicate with our customers. We used to, you'd have that special notified 3 weeks ahead coming special. Well, now we can only tell them a week ahead of what's coming. So we have to communicate better with our customers. And one of the best ways of doing that is through our social media tools. I think I'm talking to the two right people about that. You can probably say more to it than I can. But, social media is we can talk instantly to our customers. We get feedback, and that's important. So for us, the disruption in logistics just means we can't plan as long term, which is okay. We didn't really ever think long term, but we just have to communicate what's happening on a day-to-day basis more often with our customers and clients.
Right, absolutely. You mentioned the importance of communication, and I think it's also a conversation that we have with our customers, is knowing whether it's our customers or our staff, everybody's level of comfort. And I'd like to discuss that. With the pandemic, a lot of, I've spoken to many people that had fears, and we had to address those fears and accommodate those fears. So how are we navigating those waters in the upcoming months? Is it through social media? Are we communicating directly with the clients? Or is it just, let's hope that everybody that walks through the doors has a general understanding or level of comfort with the rules that we're using and the regulations we have in place?
Well, hope is not a management tool, so hope won't be something that we use. We will communicate with our customers. We'll have signage in place. We'll communicate with our customers on a daily basis. We'll share communications with our clients. We will do that through paper-based, where we're putting posters up and signage. We'll do it through social media as well, to really let them know the steps we are taking. So every province is starting to open up, and some provinces are already going mask free in the next week or so, and others are not. So we want to make sure we're just consistent, and we're going to step back from that a little bit. So if in Ontario or Alberta or Saskatchewan, they're going to say next week is the week that we're going to go maskless, our stance is we're going to wait 2 weeks. So we'll step back 2 weeks from that. We'll analyze what's going on, and then we'll, after 2 weeks, we'll say, okay, where are we? Where are our customers' comfort level with us? Where's the comfort level in the community? And then we'll decide what are we going to do? What step are we going to go to next? It's easy to say, take your mask off and go back to work. That is easy to do, but we're in a special circumstance. We're serving customers, right? So we want to make sure they're comfortable with us. It'll be great if we can smile at them again and they can actually see us. That'll be fantastic. But we'd rather them at least feel safe once, because they're going to have to get used to not wearing a mask again. I don't know about your families, but I do know some of the people in my immediate family, they're uncomfortable potentially about going into large crowds without a mask again. And a cafe is a natural gathering spot for people, and everyone goes to the cafe. So there may be a bit of a comfort level or lack of comfort for those people going down to the cafe. So we don't want to be a source of that issue. We want to make sure that they look at us and they say, okay, a little bit of comfort here. They're still wearing a mask. Everything's good. I can settle in and get comfortable in my environment. That's when we'll look around and we'll see what's going on and say, okay, now we can step back and maybe now is time for us to remove our masks, but we want to make sure our customers or clients are comfortable first.
What do you think are some trends that this pandemic has caused that are going to be permanent? And what do you think are some things that will naturally kind of fade away? So, for example, one thing right now is we don't see many self-serve food operations. Do you think that that's here to stay, or do you think slowly we will get back to that? So what are things that are permanent, and what are some things that you think are actually going to stay as a result of this pandemic?
Yeah, so I'd love to be able to say I know everything that's going to happen
Yeah,
in the
sure.
future, but from otherwise I buy that lottery ticket. But what I'm hearing from customers and family and friends, a few things are going to take their time coming back into the cafe. And you hit it on the nose first, Jay, buffets. So, well, they're not. They may come back, but they're not going to come back right away. They'll come back over time, and I think you're going to see a lot less large volume things in buffets that you did before. You may see what we call served buffets. So a full-blown salad bar where we're serving it to the customer. Someone's making individual salads. So I think that may replace the buffet. I hope not, because buffet does add value for the customer, but there is that sense of risk that goes with it. So I think that's one thing that's going to take a while to come back. I think beverage stations. People are going to worry about those fountain beverages and those jet spray machines and those types of things for the short term. That's going to be a mix of, we're going to have to educate our customers to let them know that we're sanitizing and cleaning properly, that people aren't going back and reusing things just so they're comfortable. But that's going to take a while for people to get comfortable with again. I think made to order is going to be much stronger than, I love lasagna as much as the next person, but that pan of lasagna with 24 portions in it, people are going to be leery about those types of things. They go to a stir fry item where it's made to order just for them and there's not any chance of cross-contamination with anything else. And the thing that I think will be one of the last things to change, everybody, is packaging. We've gone through a lot and we're spending a lot of money and we're producing a lot of waste. And fortunately, most of the material we use, we recycle, but there's been a lot of plastic and paper just because of people's fears of that open plate style of service. So I think it's going to take a while for plate service to come back in to the operations. I still think the customers, because listen, for the last 18 months at home, typically they've been ordering Uber, Skip the Dishes, or whatever. They've been getting packaged food delivered to their door, or they've been going and picking up items. So we have to untrain people. That was only because of the pandemic. Now we've got to get them comfortable eating with real china and knives and forks and cutlery again. So And really, those items are very, very expensive today, and they're driving up the cost of the product to the customer. So the sooner we can get away from it, the sooner we're able to start getting prices something that resemble pre-pandemic.
I'm going to give you the last word. As businesses reopen, especially hospitality businesses reopen, what do you think are going to be some guiding principles that are going to be very salient as we look into the fall? So our education vertical kind of opens in the fall. So what are some key things that you're going to be looking for as far as operations?
Well, I mean, for us, it's going to be lead, don't follow. So, make sure we're communicating first, make sure we're letting people know what we're doing and how we're doing it. Let people know that it's a safe environment and what we're doing to make it safe. So don't wait for people to ask. We've got to share that information. We've got to put it out there for them so they can get comfortable. And then if they have questions, they can come to us. But if we're going to wait for them to question us, I think we're missing something. We're not doing our job to make sure we're making them comfortable in whatever environment, university or whatever. So I think it's key that you've got to reach out to your customers, re-engage with your customers, because, I mean, really we haven't in the last 18 months. So it's our job to do that first and foremost. In regards to the food itself, for us, it's really to make sure that we focus on what we've always focused, and that's fresh, local. And then now it always was there, but it wasn't in a big S, but safe as well. So fresh, local, and safe. Let the people know it is fresh, it is local, and what we're doing to make it safe. And then just, work in an environment where we've probably said it through here 20 times. It's communicate, communicate, communicate. That's all the difference in the world. People are going to be uncomfortable in university environments where you bring all these students together, whether it's the work environment. So we really need to, it's our job to reduce some of the stress, and we do that by communicating and let them know that we're doing everything we can to make it an enjoyable and safe environment for them.
Super. Well, thanks for joining us and yielding all your time and insights. And we look forward to reopening alongside you and seeing how fall unfolds. And as you said, leading and not following and over communicating. So, yeah, thanks again for your time, Maren. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Jay. Take care. We'll see you soon.